The film begins in the 1990s, introducing us to two siblings, Michelle and Chris. Chris was very intelligent and was taking a special test at a young age that could get him direct admission into college. After finishing the exam, as soon as Michelle and Chris step outside, they are stopped by army officers because Chris was wearing a shirt featuring Cosmo Robot, indicating his liking for robots. However, in this world, a war between humans and robots was about to begin. Then, we are introduced to a scientist named Van, who harbored extreme hatred towards robots. Years ago, robots were created to assist humans, carrying out tasks assigned to them. However, when these robots developed issues, humans discarded them without care. After years of enduring mistreatment by humans, the robots grew tired and decided to demand their rights and respect. As a result, they formed an alliance led by Peanuts. Humans did not take kindly to the robots' actions, and thus, war broke out between the alliance of robots and humans. However, humans did not change their harsh behavior, and the war intensified. The use and possession of robots were banned worldwide, and the atmosphere became one of constant conflict. During the war, a military officer reported to his superior that robots were overpowering humans because they did not experience fatigue. Humans were on the verge of losing the war when scientists then introduced a new technology to assist them. He created neurocaster robots that humans could control using their brains with the help of a neurohelmet. This technology was named neurotech. By wearing the neurohelmet, humans could control the neurocaster robots and engage in battle. These neurocaster robots had the same endurance as regular robots, allowing humans to turn the tide of the war within weeks. With the help of this new technology, humans ultimately emerged victorious against the robots. The award for eliminating the most robots in the war was given to Major Mark. Following the war, humans made a contract with the robots, agreeing not to destroy them, but to imprison them in a special facility instead. As time passed, scientists then advanced his neurotech technology further, dividing the human brain into two parts and allowing both sections to connect with neurocaster robots simultaneously. This meant a single human could control two neurocaster robots at once using their brain. With this, a person could manage multiple tasks simultaneously, one part of their brain controlling a neurocaster robot, while the other part could focus on enjoying their life. Because of its versatility, this advanced version of the technology became extremely popular worldwide. People across the globe started using it, and even schools began incorporating neurotech into education. The scene transitions to 1994, where our lead character Michelle is shown living with her foster dad. At school, all children are seen learning with the help of neurohelmets. But Michelle refuses to use one because she prefers her natural human self. Due to her non-compliance with school rules, Michelle is called to the principal's office. The principal warns her that if she continues to disobey, she will have to inform her mother. Michelle then reveals that her entire family died in an accident. Hearing this, the principal feels deep sympathy for her and advises her to undergo neurotherapy using the neurohelmet to feel better. However, Michelle strongly dislikes technology and artificial things. A flashback then reveals the day of the accident. Michelle's family was driving when a deer suddenly appeared in front of their car. To avoid hitting it, they swerved, leading to a devastating crash. Michelle was critically injured and later regained consciousness in a hospital. When she woke up, she saw a doctor wearing glasses. Suddenly, she felt an eerie presence, as if someone was sneaking into her house. Terrified, she hid under her bed. A Cosmo robot entered her room, lifted the bed, and found her. When Michelle threatened to destroy it, the robot pointed to its head, indicating that she should connect a wire. Michelle hesitantly attached the wire, and the robot began speaking, revealing that it was her brother. As soon as it said this, it suddenly collapsed. Michelle turned around and saw that her foster dad had attacked the robot. At this time, possessing robots was illegal. Her foster father demanded she get rid of the robot immediately. Michelle argued that it was his negligence that allowed the robot into their house. Infuriated by her defiance, her foster father attacked Michelle instead. Seeing this, the robot became enraged and fought back, throwing her foster father against the wall, knocking him unconscious. Knowing he would report them to the police, Michelle rendered him unconscious and escaped with her Cosmo robot. After traveling far from home, Michelle stopped and questioned the Cosmo robot. She asked why it claimed to be her brother and whether her brother's consciousness was inside it. The robot affirmed this. Michelle became emotional and asked where her brother's body was. The robot gestured toward the doctor with glasses, indicating that he had the answers. Michelle recalled that this was the same doctor who had informed her that her brother was dead. Determined, Michelle unfolded a map, and the robot pointed to a location in the middle of the robot detention facility, where they would find the doctor who knew about Chris. They set out toward this facility. Along the way, the robot observed the dire state of humanity. People had begun misusing neurotech helmets, using them to get high. The sight of humans in such a miserable state deeply disturbed the Cosmo robot. Here, we are introduced to a man named Evans, the former military officer who had once reported that humans were losing the war against robots. However, he was no longer in uniform. He had seemingly retired and was now involved in supplying guns to illegal groups. At one point, he handed a gun to a Neurocaster robot. However, as soon as the robot received the gun, it refused to pay Evans and instead turned the weapon on him. Before the robot could kill Evans, another robot, Evans' own illegally kept robot, attacked and disabled it. Evans and his robot loaded the disabled Neurocaster robot into their truck. Seeing an opportunity, Michelle and her Cosmo robot sneaked into the truck, knowing that Evans was heading toward the robot detention facility. Meanwhile, Michelle's foster father had regained consciousness and reported to the police that she possessed a Cosmo robot. The government then hired Mark, the renowned robot hunter, to track and eliminate the robot. Evans eventually stopped at his home, which was connected to the robot facility. Michelle and her Cosmo robot stepped out of the truck, but Evans and his robot immediately noticed them. Evans held them at gunpoint, prompting Michelle to reveal her true purpose. She only wanted to enter the facility, which is why she had hidden in his truck. She knew Evans smuggled goods from the facility, so she pleaded for his help. Evans, however, warned that the facility was extremely dangerous and advised her to abandon her plan. As they were talking, Evans heard something climbing onto his house. He quickly ordered both robots to hide. It turned out to be Mark's Neurocaster robot, demanding to know where the rogue robots were. He was aware that Michelle was assisting a robot and believed it was hiding there. Evans lied, claiming Michelle was his sister and that there were no robots there. Unconvinced, Mark attacked Evans. This infuriated Michelle's Cosmo robot and Evans' robot, who both retaliated against Mark. Michelle took the opportunity to disable the facility's power and, along with the others, fled, leaving Mark's Neurocaster robot trapped under debris. The real Mark, now helmetless, was enraged. The group eventually reached a highly dangerous area. Evans was frustrated, as there was no escape route. He lashed out at Michelle. Meanwhile, scavenger robots arrived, robots that killed defective robots and replaced their damaged parts to extend their own lives. During the search, Evans' robot, Tom, found a large robot in a van. Evans' robot took control of the massive robot, intending to escape. Before leaving, Michelle pleaded for help, revealing that she knew a doctor who could guide them out. Evans agreed to help, and the group set off in the van, which was carried by the large robot. As they traveled, Michelle asked Evans where he had found the robot. Evans revealed that during the war, he had been injured, and this robot had saved his life. Since then, he had remained hidden with the robot. The scene shifts to scientist Than, who sees his mother suffering memory loss. Investigating the cause, he discovers that his neurotech is responsible. He becomes furious and learns that Chris, the key to their neurotech system, has escaped. Enraged, then contacts Mark, offering him a new, advanced Neurocaster suit in exchange for capturing Michelle's robot. The film then cuts to Michelle and her group, who are suddenly attacked and captured by numerous robots. They are taken to Dr. Peanuts, the leader of the robots. Michelle ***. Michelle was shocked to see that they were still alive. The head asked, "What is your purpose in coming here? Humans often come here to kill us." Michelle replied, "I haven't come to kill you or harm anyone. I am just looking for a doctor who lives inside this facility." Dr. Peanut said, "Yes, there is a safe house far from here. Maybe he lives there." Dr. Peanut then asked Michelle, "Why are you looking for this doctor?" She revealed, "I am actually looking for my brother, whose consciousness is inside this Cosmo robot. And I have heard that my brother's body is with the then company." Dr. Peanut was also disturbed, wondering why they would keep a child in their facility. Michelle had no answer to this question either. It was shown that Michelle and Evans were now ready to move forward. Dr. Peanut sent some of his soldier robots to assist them. They all sat inside a peanut-shaped vehicle and set off. Meanwhile, we saw that Mark had already entered the facility and spotted them leaving. When they reached their destination, they were surrounded by many Avengers. But before they could attack, a song played, and a secret door opened, allowing them to slip through and reach Dr. Kion, the person Michelle had been searching for. Before Dr. Kion could ask them any questions, Michelle confronted him. "Where is my brother? You said he was dead. How is he still alive? Why did you lie to me? Why did you tell me he was dead?" Dr. Kion explained, "Your brother is in Nant's lab." Michelle asked, "Why? For what purpose?" Dr. Kion replied, "For years ago, humans were losing the war. During that time, Tamahara and Chris had an accident. When we did an MRI on Chris, we discovered he was a genius. His brain had some extraordinary powers, a gift from God. These very abilities became our lifeline. With Chris's brainpower, we were able to develop neurotech. Michelle, furious, said, "Then why did you lie to me about his death?" Dr. Kion used his robotic screen to show her everything from the past. Chris was in a coma, and his brain was being used through his body. Dr. Kion explained, "If we hadn't kept him artificially alive and developed neurotech, Chris would have been killed." Michelle argued, "Then you should have let him die. You shouldn't have used him in such a terrible way." Dr. Kion replied, "He wasn't completely dead. He was alive inside. One day, he even tried to hold my hand. When I realized he was still conscious, I tried to shut down the neurotech program, but then refused and expelled me from the company." Dr. Kion revealed, "I was the one who connected his brain to this robot, which is why you are standing before me today." Michelle, still unconvinced, asked, "But why did you do it?" Dr. Kion answered, "I wanted Chris to keep his consciousness inside the robot and build a life among them, to form a new family." Hearing this, Michelle started crying and said, "My brother was mine. I was his family. He didn't need robots." Evans, enraged after hearing the entire story, attacked Dr. Kion. Meanwhile, Mark had arrived at the facility. The moment Dr. Peanut saw him on the CCTV, he rushed to action. Mark stormed into the facility with an explosion. Taking advantage of the darkness, everyone started attacking him, but his Neurocaster robot was incredibly strong. Their attacks had no effect on him. Mark had brought an entire army with him, which started battling the robots. The Neurocaster robots were ruthlessly destroying the older models. In this chaos, Dr. Kion told Michelle, "Take the robot and leave." But before Michelle could escape, Mark spotted her and grabbed the robot's hand, flying away with it. He did not harm Michelle, but by then, there had already been massive destruction. Even Peanut was severely injured. When they returned to the robot facility, they found that the Neurocaster robots had killed almost all the robots. Those that survived were in terrible condition. Meanwhile, Mark delivered the robot to Van. Seeing it, then sighed in relief and said, "You have troubled me a lot. Don't do this again." The doctors took the robot and placed it inside a machine, extracting Chris's consciousness and transferring it back into his body. Mark stood there, shocked to see the inhumane way Van was using a child, then boasted, "Because of this child, I was able to create neurotechnology and save humanity." Meanwhile, Michelle was devastated. Evans consoled her, saying, "I am with you. We will save Chris and expose Van's truth." Their first mission now was to escape the facility. They approached one of Peanut's robots, which knew the escape route. This robot had a lot of information and told Michelle, "All of neurotech operates using your brother's brain. If your brother regains consciousness, the entire system will shut down." Michelle responded, "That's good, right? We can shut down neurotech this way." The robot agreed to join their mission, but Peanut was hesitant. Peanut said, "We never wanted war before. We always wanted peace and respect, and we still do." Michelle replied, "That's exactly what we are fighting for. We will fight one last time for peace." The other robots agreed with Michelle's point and convinced Peanut to join the mission. Now, they were ready. They traveled in a large spherical vehicle to the city where Van's lab was located. They brought a massive robot with them, using it to lift cars like toys and attack the lab. Inside, Van saw everything happening and ordered Mark to destroy them with his army. Evans was controlling the giant robot, but soon, advanced Neurocaster robots arrived to destroy it. Eventually, his robot was demolished. Before Evans could be killed in the explosion, he jumped out just in time. Peanut also arrived with a massive robot, and the cosmic robots fought against the Neurocaster robots. While everyone was distracted by the battle outside, Michelle sneaked inside the lab. She used her robot to scare off the scientists and then put on a neuro helmet that was connected to her brother. Outside, Mark arrived in his powerful Neurocaster suit, causing more destruction. Mark came face to face with Peanut. Mark pointed his gun at him and asked, "Why are you still fighting?" Peanut replied, "Is there anything greater than freedom?" Mark asked, "Not even death." Peanut responded, "If my death brings freedom to my people, then I welcome it." Mark was impressed and said, "You have more humanity than most humans. Today, I met a human who is even less compassionate than a robot." He was referring to Van, who had cruelly exploited a child for his product. At that moment, Mark decided he would no longer support Van. Meanwhile, Michelle connected with Chris in the virtual world. Chris told Michelle, "I cannot leave. Van has used my brain to destroy the world. If I remain alive, he will continue to use me. The only way to stop this is for you to kill me." Michelle refused, but Chris reminded her, "You always said I could change the world. Help me do it now." They hugged, and the scene shifted back to reality. Michelle woke up and turned off all of Chris's machines, killing him and shutting down neurotech. Outside, Evans saw that all the Neurocaster robots collapsed and deactivated. He had won the war. But when he turned to his own robot, Tim, he saw it was destroyed. Heartbroken, he then noticed a small core inside Tim that had kept it alive. Relieved, He rushed inside to find Michelle. Later, the world learned the truth through the news. Michelle gave an interview exposing Ned's crimes, then was arrested. In the end, Michelle gave a speech saying, "Neurotech made humans forget that they could do things themselves. We must rely on each other, not technology. Our emotions and connections make us human." The audience was moved. Evans hugged her. In the post-credit scene, we saw a pile of dead robots. Suddenly, the Cosmo robot stood up. Chris's consciousness was still alive. And with that, the movie ended. So if you love this video, please do like and share this video and subscribe to this channel.